On this video, we will see the Power Query within Power BI. Let's open the Power BI program. And here we're going to analyze some of these files that I have on the screen. That is the number 4, that it says Power Query Sales. We have already seen this, but in order. Now, what I'm giving you is in this order. A new structure that you may receive a file maybe that you usually work with in your activities, pulling out from the system to Excel, or maybe a file of this kind. And here I will explain you what this is all about and all the mistakes that you may find. In real, this is what we find. We find a file with these errors, these mistakes. I have a huge amount of information here in this file. If I review this, I can check it out pressing Ctrl Shift page down, or going to page up and Ctrl page down. So this information ends in row 7007. Then again Ctrl Home to go to the beginning. And now here we have this. Here I can see that I have 3 rows that are completely useless. This 3 that we have above the headings. The headings are in bold font to see them clearly. But above them we have 3 rows that are useless. So the good part of this is that we are going to clean this information. Also, I have some columns that don't have nothing, like it's column B and E. And also I have the names of the sellers with many mistakes. For instance, a semicolon, some dashes. Maybe there are others that have spaces, some commas, some points, 2 points. We have many mistakes in these columns, and also the same in the customers type. Here we have different mistakes. So there are some spaces in the middle of a word. Also, let's see if the sales are okay, if Power BI is detecting properly the information and also the quantities. And now we'll continue examining each of these columns and rows that we have in this file. For instance, again here in this column I have the date order, and if you see, there are some dates that are wrong because they are aligned to the left. And also here at the top, Excel is just a general cell format. Meanwhile, the other ones are formatted as date. This column also needs to be corrected in Power Query. Also, I have the countries. I'm working with the United States in this case, and here I'm working also. I have also the states names. I have only the states code but not the names. This is located here in page number 2, where I have the codes of states and also the names. So these names of states must be here. So it could be like a kind of Vlookup, but I will do that within Power BI for Power Query. So I have the tool open here. Now it's opening a new file. I close this warning here with the X and just stay with Power BI. Just verify that you are connected. Here at the top, your name must be signed in to the right corner, as well as your email, because we will upload this file to the cloud. Then for this, we have already reviewed all the Excel file. We have already seen the possible mistake that it has. In addition to this, we see some rows completely blank, completely empty, and so on. We need to delete all these all these rows blank in Power Query for Power BI is very easy. All this information can be cleaned also from Excel. Of course, you already know all the tools how to do this and how to replace, for instance, how to delete these columns. That it is completely easy and we just delete. But also the rows would be the same way, or filtering to clean them all. There are a set of tools to do in Excel, but we can do that also in Power Query. Power Query is a tool that belongs to Excel. You can find it here in Data. If you click on this ribbon of Data, and here in this area where it says Get and Transform Data, is where you are going to work with Power Query. But this time we will work it out from Power BI. So if we learned how to master it from Power BI, then you will have added this to put it in practice in Excel. In advanced level of Excel, we have seen all these procedures, how to work with Power Query, a little bit of this. Okay, so now let's see with Power BI, how can we work with this tool? So here in Power BI, we are going to upload this sheet. Again, Excel, this is an Excel file. Just clicking here and we import it from Excel, and here it is, file number 4, Power Query Sales. And open. And here it's uploaded. These two sheets are uploaded. If we select sheet number 1, here you see is a preview of the whole information that I uploaded. If we go to second page, will be the same. Then I will select both of them. So what I'm going to do is to upload it to Power Query. But this time I won't click on this button. I'm going to click on Transform Data. Then click again. And with this, the Power Query tool will open. And now you may see this is Power Query because the window is completely different to Power BI. And here at the top it says Untitled Power Query Editor. And if we go here to this icon of Power BI, here you will see that Power BI is also open, so you can commute from one window to the other one. And here in Power BI, you have a yellow bar that it says Apply Changes. If I apply changes, I will transmit all the information to Power BI. But I haven't made it yet because I am now in Power Query. So here they are, all the two pages that I imported from Excel. So I'm going to clean and transform them. So what does query mean? Mean is making a consultation. And what is this used for? This program is used to transform all the information, to formalize the information. Formalize and transform means to clean it, optimize it, organize it, making it look okay and good, to present it all the information in good conditions so that any data can harm any information at all. So once I have cleared up all the information, I can do my analysis. But if the information is not well structured, simply I just can't make any analysis with this information from Excel. With this information from Excel, it's very difficult to perform some filters, tables, subtotals, formulas. Why? Because it's all in disorder. And usually companies give us this kind of file. Somebody made these mistakes and now you have to work with this. And also from the systems, when we import information from the system into Excel, when we're working now, we can get these results. Sometimes the dates are not dates, the text numbers are not numbers, are texts. So it's possible to obtain that kind of mistakes when you see this kind of typing with mistakes. So the purpose of Power Query is clean up the information. So let's get back to Power Query within Power BI. And here we're going to review the working area, how this environment is composed of. Here at the top, you see the ribbons, the Home, Transform, Add Columns, View, Tools, and Help. So these are the ribbons that we have in Power Query. To the left, we have this little column. When we close it, then I can retrieve and open, showing all the elements that are imported from Excel, sheet number 1 and number 2. So here they are. In the middle, we have the working area. The working area is composed by a tabular format. We have all columns, and each column is represented, obviously, the information. Here they are. To the right, we have another window that it says Properties and Applied Steps. When we close with this X, for some reason it doesn't appear, you can recover it from View. And in View, activate here where it says Query Settings. And now you will get them back. This window must be activated and open always at the same to the left. At the bottom, here we have the number of rows and columns. 11 columns charged and 1,999 rows. It's not that these rows are charged outside. We have this amount, but we have more than 7,000 rows of information. If we get back to Excel and we press Control Page Down, here again we have 7,007 rows, but with Power BI it doesn't upload all information as a maximum 1,000 rows, 1,000 including the headings. So it's not necessary to upload all the information. That's why this program works very fast, because it's just focusing in 1,000 rows. It's cleaning the 1,000 rows, but also it's cleaning all of them. For instance, if you have another file with more than 2,005 rows, then it's uploading only 1,000, so that the engine can be used in a very efficient way and quick, so that you can analyze the information that you have available in this file. So what we're going to do now is cleaning up this information. Let's get back home. And here, as long as we go through, we will learn how to use these tools that we have here. And each of these columns has elements, has some tools also. If you do the right click, you will see there are more tools. Okay, so let's start with finding the mistakes that we see in this table to clean it up. So here we name it Query 1 and Query 2. Let's start with Query 1 that belongs to the sellers. To start here, if you see this information, let's focus on your headings. The heading is just on the line number 3. Here it is. And above number 3, we have number 1 and number 2 that are completely useless for me, so I need to delete them. But if in Excel there were 3 rows, remember? If we get back to the initial part, there are 3 rows above the headings. Then why this Power Query didn't detect it? It happened, it detected, but the first row was selected as a header at the top. So there is the information. So I need to delete these 2. How do I do that? Very easy. I don't need to select any part of these rows. But you may go to Home, and here there is a button here that is in the middle, that it says remove rows, and click in there and you select the first option that it says remove top rows. Then you choose clicking on it, and now you have this. On this window you need to enter the number of rows that you would like to delete from the top. So I just type 2 because it's 2 rows. Okay, there it is. So the heading is closer to the header. That is number 1. So the other 2 rows are gone. Now the same way, I just can place the cursor anywhere and get back to home. And here to the right there is another button that it says use font, use first row as headers. So with this I click here, and that's all. So I have all the headers as it should be, as the headings here. Good. Now if I check up the information, I would say that the column number 2 and column 5 shouldn't exist. So for Excel are these ones, column B and column E. They don't have any information at all. Okay, so for this I need to get back here. I highlight them and I delete them. To be sure, just use the filter if you have any information at all. Since it says it's null, then you are not risking to delete something important, so it's okay to delete it. Same case for the column number 5. You verify there is no information at all and just delete it. Then again in column number 2, just take out or remove. And also we do the same with the column 5, right click and delete. And that's all. So now if we verify and analyze the information, here we have many rows in blank. Here above there are many more in blank. Then select one by one and delete it is not feasible because there are too many that we have in this file. So if you notice here in Excel, we have also these empty rows. It's here there are many more. So this figure will delete completely the blank rows. But if one row has at least one value, for instance this row will be respected, even though all the other cells are in blank, but this row will be respected only due to this number. For instance, if it has 1 point, just 1 point only, will also be respected. Okay, so query is very powerful in this sense because it will delete only the rows that have only blank spaces, that is to say nothing. And Power Query detects the information that has nothing because there is a word here that it says null. So null means there's empty. So how can I delete all these blank columns and rows? So the same way, go to Home, and in Home you just click on Remove Rows, and here down the last option it says Remove Blank Cells, and click, and now there are no anymore any rows in blank. Before continuing, I want to explain you this. When we upload information to Power Query, I mean sheets number 1 and 2, what we made is bringing all the information or a copy of the original information from Excel. So in Excel, the information is just the same as you have it here. So this means that it doesn't interfere in the original information. So what Power Query does is uploading the information and making a copy of this, and it's also related and connected to the original. This means that if on the original you add something or make some changes or add some column, also Power Query will detect the information that you are adding. This is quite good because there's a way you can update all the information. We will see this when we will finish cleaning this information. Okay, let's continue analyzing this. If we go to the right and we see the columns, and here there were some mistakes. Remember? Here are the mistakes. Now you must see what happened to Power Query. Query immediately clean it up and organize these date columns. Put it in order. So how can I confirm that there are no mistakes? First, because assigned this little icon that is a calendar, that it means this is a date data. And if you open it, here are the different types that the Power Query works with: decimal number, with currencies, entire whole numbers, percentage, date or time, and so, or text. Also one of the most seen here, ABC. Most columns are located as in ABC because they are recognized as text, except in this one that it says number of say here is decimal, and here also the one that corresponds to whole numbers. So these are the type of data that Power Query recognizes, and also the data is automatically recognized, so you don't need to make any additional corrections. So everything made so far has been registered to the right. To the right, where we have applied steps, this is the language known as language M. So if we click here in source, here you will find it uploaded all information from Power Query and then browsed with the information, then promoted the titles to the upper part, to the top, and then changed the name. Now you will see that as long as this has been doing this, it also added a green bar here. So these are the qualities of the columns, but as long as I go through, these are also clean up. When I remove the first 3 rows, when I promoted the headings, change of headings, and also change it, and also delete the first rows, the first columns 2 and column 5, and then we deleted all the columns in black. Everything is related here. It's like a historic procedure. So this is called language M. So what would happen if I make some mistake when deleting one column? Maybe I will delete this action with this X that you have here in red. So see, clicking on this is like contrasting the before and the after. For instance, let's suppose that I made a mistake and click on here, and with this I can recover the blank cells. Of course, when I do this, I deleted this step, so I should get back and repeat this procedure again. So I go home, remove cells, and remove cells in blank. And now this action happens again. So I can do that also, but I can delete the action that you have performed before. Or maybe you deleted something that you shouldn't delete. So you just can recover it clicking on it. Okay, so that's how I got the dates that are not good. For instance, if here at the top we had 2 colors in green or this one in brown, now when we move forward up to this point, it's now completely in green. So this means that everything is fine. you can expand this bar more. If we go to view, there is an option here that it says column quality, and now you see that we have the quality of each column. In here we see that the quality of the sellers are found like this, and the same for each of these columns up to the dates. So this means columns quality. So I just open it here from view and columns quality. But if I get back, for instance, and if I get back to the fourth procedure, the fourth step, you see it shows me mistakes. For this case, in the column of years, valid is 28%. There are no mistakes, but there are empty spaces. So it's referring to this one. This is the column quality. So I get back here. I'm ready. This bar is quite useful because it allows us to see the quality of each of these columns. Now let's continue. But before this, I'm going to reduce it so that I can have more room left to see. Now I'm going to clean up the internal information. If it's true, I have already deleted the serious mistakes, but inside of these cells there are many mistakes. For instance, there are semicolons, colon, 2 points, maybe spaces. We need to clean up all that. If I filter here, then you will see you have many cells that are repeated here, and this isn't good either, because I need to clean up the information. So I do it this way. So let's use another technique to do this. Just select the column of sellers, as I'm doing now, and you're going to right click in this heading, and now you will find other options. These options are mainly here at the top. They are split in home, in view, and so on, but with your right button you get it quickly. For instance, I can say that values are replaced. So here you will see how do you want to replace it. I want to search, for instance, the semicolon, and I don't want to replace it with nothing. And click OK. So here you will see immediately deleted the semicolon that was here, and now if I get back you will see, and after that you see it deleted, but not only for Frank but for all the names with that in this column. Now again, right button, I'm going to review this, and here I can ask search for the points and replace it with nothing. So all the dots are deleted. Then again, replace colors, search for the commas, and delete with nothing. So I have already deleted all the possible commas that were somewhere. So I add also the 2 points, and just to replace with nothing, just to be sure. Okay, so here I deleted all those that were easy to find at sight. Then again, I'm going to search for dash, so it's going to replace it with nothing. And here it is, no more dashes. If we get back to filter, we may see here that we have the names. There are some that are repeated, so let's get back to clean it up. So what we have here is that some of them have room left at the beginning and on the top. For instance, here Frank has spaces, another one has spaces here, but Power Query didn't detect all those spaces. What happened? Well, indeed it did. If you go to view, then you click on the show white spaces, then you can have all that option too. Then click again, right click again on the headings of seller, and now go to transform, and here I'm going to click on trim, and there it is. So with this I deleted already for those that are to the left and those that are to the right. Obviously they are not seen to the right, but I can show you this here. When I enter in one of these, then you will see, you may notice that there are some spaces left here. No, I can see this, but what I'm referring to now is that maybe you have these spaces, the spaces at the beginning maybe. So if you had it deleted already using trim. Okay, so if I get back again here, now you will see there is no spacing bar showing or indicating me that there are no more mistakes here. So let's continue cleaning. Maybe we can find some spaces between each word. We're going to delete that too. Right click again, and here I'm going to replace values and try to be sure with the next thing. Search for 2 spaces left in this column, 1 and 2, and replace it with 1 only. And that's it. Okay. So with this I deleted all the spaces left internally. Why? Because with the option that we saw here at the beginning that was trim only allows you to delete the spaces left at the beginning and behind each word, behind each cells. When you click it on transform and replace and value 1 by nothing, delete it all. So if I filter now, there are less sellers here, unless that franc is repeated here many times. Here it says franc chart, here is franc chart, and we need to correct this. But also that I see here are the caps and the lowercase. Some names are in caps, some are in lowercase or the initial capitalized. We need to fix it. How do we do that? With the right click, click on transform and use this option that it says capitalize each word, the third one. Click on this and automatically everything will put it in order. The first words, the first letters are all in caps. And now everything is correct. But in this case, these 2 names are repeated. And now let's correct this. Just select one of these franc that is properly written, for instance, or that is correctly here. With the right click, I click on replace values again. And here I have the name with Ctrl C and Ctrl B. And now what I'm asking is search for franc chart and replace it with franc chart and click OK. Very good. Now it corrected already. Let's see again. And now on the list there is 1 franc chart only. Then at least we have 9 sellers. So just to be sure to upload more, and here we have 9 sellers only. So this means that this column is ready, is clean, no mistakes. Remember, if for some reason you have more spaces, then you go to right click, replace values, then type 3 times space bars and replace it with 1 only. Maybe you have more spaces left. Why it happens this? Because maybe the person that typed it, the name was typing many times the space bars and then added the second name or the first or the last name. Sometimes it happens. Well, with this I can deactivate it from the view, show the blank space, and now it's done. Let's get back to home, and here this seller is completely clean. If we review to apply step, all what I made are listed here. You see all the errors recovered, and I go seeing each one by one. They are recorded in here to the right side in this apple known as language M. Good. So now let's continue with the customer column. We selected this, and now we're going to arrange the spaces that we have in the middle of this word. There are many blank spaces. Right click again, replace values, and here I'm going to type one space only and replace it with nothing. Click OK. So everything is together, including also company A, company B, company L, company F, company H. All of these are together. So if I would like to separate them, right click again, get back to transform or replace values, and here I'm going to type this. Search for company as it is here and replace it by the same. But in the end I just type one space bar, so I just make a separation to the letters. So I just need to find this company and replace it with this space included and click OK, and you see the space is generated to each of these. So when you learn to use this tool of Power Query, due to the experience and practice, you can choose any options that you may think. So just remember, all the tools that we have tried so far are here in home, and also doing right click on the headings. In the filter we reviewed if all information is correct. When we upload more, this belongs to customers, and here you can verify also the possible sellers that are 9. So these two columns are clean at all. We saw also the type of date. For instance, this 1.2 is saying that it's decimal. How? Because here I have this quantity with 1 decimal. This another one, this icon is saying that this is a whole number. For is I have 1, 2, 3 is a whole number, and so on. Most of them are texts. If there will be some mistakes, then you may clean it too. But for my example, this column doesn't have any mistake. So I have the states ordered in text, the countries also text. In this case, this is just one country, United States. Category has no mistakes, and the dates that we have already seen is already corrected immediately. So all these are clean. So what is missing is to review the number 2, if it's not correct. No, it's not correct, because the states that are here are not here at the top as headers. So we're going to do this in this time. We're going to open home, and we're going to use the first row as headers. Click it, and here we have the headers at the top, and also is in the list of applied steps. This applied steps belongs to this sheet. Meanwhile, sheet number 1 has this all applied steps. So what we are going to do now is export this information that we have in Power Query to Power BI. Then let's go to home, and here we click to the left, close and apply. Then click there, close and apply. So with this, all the information is exported from Power Query to Power BI. So this yellow bar will appear when the information is ready in Power BI. just watch what will happen. It's uploading the information. It's cleaning Power Query, because Power BI is cleaning the information before using it and analyzing it. So with this, we can perform our charts, analysis, and so on. So here we have it as sheet number 1. Here are the sales, and sheet number 2 are the states. And if we go here to the second icon, to the data, here you can review all the information. Sheet number 1 is completely clean, without any mistakes, with no mistakes at all. Here we have the short date that we need to change it to, and also we need to add the commas. This you can do it from here, and also here we need to add the currency. So if we review sheet number 2, we have the codes of states, and here we have the states. If we go to modeling data with the third icon, here we will see that it connected already the two tables, the main table to the second table. So because we have one field in common, that is the states code, and we close properties. And why do we have this field in common? Because if we analyze the common of states, or together with the other one, that is this. So it was connected through this field, and then you can filter or pull out information. But let's continue. So to get back to Power Query from here, here to this area, or here, wherever you are, you can go home, and here there is a button that says Transform Data. And here you just click on the first option, Transform Data. So with this, we are getting back to Power Query. Maybe to keep cleaning the information, maybe there's something I missed. And yes, that's correct. I forgot to change the names of these sheets. So the first one will be sales, and enter. When I place it here in properties, it will change here. If I select the second one, this will be the states, and enter. So with this, I have already changed the two sheets. So now what I'm going to do is a kind of Vlookup. So I'm going to search for the names of the states that I have here. There are 10 states only. I'm going to search them or find them in this sales table that would be within the states code and the country. So what I'm going to do is a kind of combination queries. So if I here in the sales, and from home, I'm going to open the merge queries. So click here, and now you see how we can enter directly. So I'm going to close again. So if you enter to the first arrow, just select the first option, and here it is. So automatically we have the information of sales, as you may see, and here below we have a little arrow where you can select the states. You can see here that you have both sales and states, and you go searching the column that they have in common. So here we have a state code, we just highlighted, and here we highlighted too. And when we highlighted both, here at the bottom says that the selection coincides with this number of rows. So this means that they have something in common, so that's how I can connect them. This procedure that we're seeing now is called merging consultations or merging queries, to pull out this information from the states towards here, towards the sales table. Once I made this, as it's as simple as this, I click OK, and ready. So I have a new column to the right, if I go there and I open it to this filter, so I will have all of them table because there are many informations in here. So now you see there are the two columns that has the state queries, but the code is already here, so I don't need the code anymore. So I just click that checkbox and I select only the state. So this case that I have here, that it says use the original column name, if I leave it activated, it will show me this number that it says state code plus this name of the states. So I'm going to verify this first. Yes, but I put it out, I brought the information from the states too. So I'm going to delete this action, delete, and now I delete it. Again, I get in here, and here I'm going to uncheck this seller code, but I do want the state name and take out this box. So then click OK. So it's just bringing me only the names of the states. So I can move this or put it out here so that you can enter the code of the state and the country. And here are the states. So here I placed all the states here. Remember that these are like 7,000 rows. Now I don't need it anymore, but I can't delete it. If I go to right click and try to delete it, this will be, I will have this query that the query states cannot be deleted because it's being referenced by another query that is sales. So in real, the sales are depending on these states because there's one column that is related, but we can enable them. So with the right click here, I find this option that it says enable load. So if I uncheck this, then it says, but let's continue. And here I'm going to place it as a cursive way. So this means it won't be upcharged. So if I go to home, click and apply, clear and apply, and then query is bringing all the information to Power BI, is loading, but one of them will disappear. The sales will be the one existing. Remember that I changed the names into states and sales. You see, now if we go to data, here we have only the sales table. If we go to modeling, we have only the sales table. There is no anymore the states. It's not deleted, it's just enabled. It's just a way to combine these two consultations when we consider it convenient. But for this example it was feasible to do this. And now here you see here we have the codes of the states, and here we have the names of the states. But hold on, we have it to the right. And why? Because in query we put it in order. In Power BI detects the information as it is. And maybe it detects as in alphabetical order. Maybe you can see here is in alphabetical order, and also it's detected like this. It doesn't matter, because when we do the analysis, you can select the field and you just drag it to one of these icons, and it's not necessary to put it all in order here. But this is in query. In query you can order here, not here. So let's do the good practices. Just click on the date order, and we're going to change it in column tools in short dates, so we can reduce the size of this date. Ready? Now again go to quantity, and here we're going to add the comma for the thousands. Remember that I can't do this in query. Also select the sales and add the currency symbol, in this case the US dollar. Good, so these are our good practices. Now let's get back to query. I can do this from home. I'm going to transform data because I'm going to do something with the dates. Dates. Besides how to create the calendar table, you can also do this with the dates in Power Query. First, highlight the dates order, and we go to the button that is Add Column. And within Add Column, to the right, you will find an option that it says Date. You have also time and numbers. So just click on here in Date, and you can select year and year and see what happens. It generates a new column only with years. And if I filter, you will see that there are 2 years that are related to these dates that we have here. It just pulled out the years. Now if I click again with the heading of dates, click on date, and now I like to add months. I now have another column of the 12 months. You can upload more. No, there are only 12, and that's it. Now again I highlight another time, get back to date, now to months, but in this time I'm going to ask the name of the month, and here it is. It's separated with numbers, with letters. This time is in Spanish, but you will have it all in English. Due to the setup that I have here is in Spanish, but it's separated in letters. Now again go to date order, and now I click on day and day. So I generated another column only showing me the days and from 1 to 31st. So with these 4 columns we pull it out from this date order. Yeah, I can continue. I go to date again, go to week or quarters. You can select them by quarters. I created a new column that it says quarters. Here we have the 4 quarters, and so on. I can select again and separate it according to weeks, maybe the dates also. So here you have 53 weeks. So we have created many columns starting from the date order. Here it was really much more expedited, easier, because if I do this in calendar table, would be different without making any calculated columns. This is another way to work with dates. So this means that calendar table is not efficient. Is this just another way to work in query when we divide our dates in different areas? Here we divide it into years, months, month name, day, quarters, and also in weeks of the year, from the 1 until the 53. So once I made this, go home, close and apply, close and apply. So with this, I'm going to import again the information to Power BI, and here you will see I have more columns, more than we have already. There it is. Okay. So we have them automatically. We have the seller, the customers, up to what we have made of the week. Remember that here, these months names are in Spanish, but you will have them into English according to the setup of the language in your Power BI. So here you have the information that we have cleaned it up automatically with the procedure that we followed in Power Query. Now let's start some charts, but this is what I wanted to show you with this first exercise, that is when we need to analyze and transport all this information. This is very good because, for instance, I'm going to create a new chart. Just close this filter. And here I'm going to type the names of the seller's name. For instance, here. And from these names, I want this information. For instance, I would like to have the amounts they sold, the quantity of they sold, and the sales they made. So just get back here to sales. So here we have the sellers that in total they are 9, and here we have the sales made and their amount. They reached more than 1 million and more than $7 million of dollars, and we have already the sign of currency. What happens if I get back to the data origin? This file of Excel, we keep having these mistakes that you may add information that is wrong. For instance, let's say here if I type 1, so here I type a semicolon, and here I'm going to add last name or another name, but this time I'm going to do it in caps. And within this name that is in caps, I'm going to add maybe a dash. And this is something I'm doing here. And here I'm adding 2 or 3 dashes. So here I'm typing again a new name with errors. And all the rest will be copied. Ready. So I'm going to add some big sales, 1 million of sales. And also I'm going to add today's date. So today we are recording this video, June the 20th. Okay. And this is starting by months. No problem with that. I'm ready. So I typed a new date with the name with mistakes, and also we are going to add more quantities here. And ready. This belongs to this same state and to this country, United States. So I save the information. Imagine every day we are filling in all this information with mistakes or whatever. But when you're going to get back to Power BI, see what will happen. I'm going to refresh. And now remember there were 9 sellers. Now we have to add another one. And there we have it. Okay? So here we don't have any mistakes, everything is in order and no dashes. It arranged it and fixed everything, and also the same for quantities and sales. Why? What happened? What happens is that Power Query internally, if you see, applied each of the steps that we followed, all the steps applied in here on the table 1, that is sales, was applied here automatically. And again, clean it up the information. Even though you are adding new information in the future or you are deleting information, it will be in action all these steps applied previously. These steps are previously in programming. So here for advanced editor, if we go there, you will see that all the programming that we have here is this, all the cleaning and all the steps followed are here. So this is the M language, very similar to macros language, but you don't need to know about this to understand or master this tool. But this is just an option to let you know how it happened. Okay. So what would happen if the mistake would be something new? For instance, here and somebody typed a slash. Okay. Here I save it, get back to Power Query, and now here in Power BI I'm going to update or refresh the information. And just remember how it was, George. And here you will see the dash. What happened here? Why is the dash here? Maybe because this mistake wasn't saved before. What to do when I find this slash? How to replace this? So what I'm going to do is just to replace data, the Power Query, and I highlight this new column. Then I click on replace values. So every time that I find here slash, to replace it by null, nothing, and click OK. So you can see here it is saved already, and this is the before and after. Now I close all the changes and apply, and here it is. The information is uploaded. And ready. Here the dash or the slash is cleaned, but here happened something. What happened if I get back to query? This step that I have just applied is doing it in the end. After saying to convert the first letters in caps, and this is here. This is here. Capitalize the first word. So this new procedure that I added, I can bring it here up above this capitalize, or maybe up, but then I will close apply, since the procedure is first and then she needs to convert. Everything is arranged. It's not in caps anymore. So as you see, working in Power Query is an art. So as long as we go through this course, you will learn how to use perfectly this tool. But I'm pretty sure that you will learn how to do this following these videos that you are learning now for Power BI.